Welcome to the healing power of dogs. We want to start by introducing you to Judy and her incredible golden retriever, Ricochet. These two took the Positive Team's goal-directed therapy dog program to a higher level. Ricochet was born in Judy's hands, and they had a great connection from the beginning. But it was our canine-inspired community reintegration program, referred to as Seeker, that provided Judy the opportunity to take advantage of Ricochet's amazing talents to improve the lives of those struggling. Our military service members were willing to trust Ricochet's messages and to be open to Judy's probing. The year before she died, Judy put together the original version of this presentation, but unfortunately, she isn't with us anymore to convey her message directly. Therefore, we have revised the presentation while making sure we are keeping the original message and videos intact so that you and your dog, too, can make a huge difference. So, our mission today is to empower you to help your clients through the insights your dog will present. We have broken our presentation into three major components. 1. Know your dog. Most of us don't really understand what our dogs are communicating. We may think we do, but there is so much more. 2. Interpret, observe, and ask questions. Once you have learned how to read your dog's body language, you will need to communicate this to your clients. This is done through observations and asking questions. And finally, 3, change lives. This is where you get to witness the transformation in your clients and when they are able to share with you what they feel is happening. We'd like to introduce these concepts by sharing this video clip showing veterans with severe anxieties reacting to and recognizing the message the dog is sending. This is where it all comes together. Someone taught the person how to read the dog's body language with the help of interpretation. The first veteran in this video was actually introduced to the healing power of dogs by working with Ricochet during our Seeker program. It truly changed his life, and he went on to acquire his own service dog, who is in the video with him.
I had gone to Fort Irwin, and this is Captain.
I've never seen anything like it. As soon as Randy started to struggle with his past pain, Captain, his service dog, sensed the stress and hopped up in his lap.
Gives me kisses, so I love you, brother. You're a good boy. So I love it so much. See, so right now, he's taking my energy and putting it into him, and he's there for me.
Of what supposedly, I have, just because that's what their books say and stuff like that. I was like, there has to be, you can tell I'm getting a little agitated.
Gumbo senses Eric's upset even before Eric realizes it.
So what she's doing by laying on your lap and hitting your arm, it's like more points of contact. So it's not like you're just petting her. She's trying to have, and even her back leg, you see her back leg? So she's trying to make as many points of contact with you as she can.
Well, thank you for your service. Yeah, thank you for your time. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Part 1. Know your dog. Most of us miss many cues our dogs express all the time. We assume we know what they're doing. The process of learning to read your dog is never ending, and the more you notice what your dog is trying to communicate, the better you will become as a translator. In order to know your dog and then have the power to interpret for your dog and help others heal, remember, we're not teaching the dogs, they are teaching us. This starts by looking at the dog's body language differently. It sometimes looks like misbehavior, the dog just being silly or being a jerk or not understanding what is expected of him. Perhaps you should let the dog make decisions and then you interpret this to the person. Dogs are always communicating. Sometimes the signs are subtle, such as a raise of the eyebrow, flick of an ear, perhaps a glance in a certain direction, a stare, or intense eye contact with you or your client. Other signs are not so subtle but extremely important to notice, such as leaning against you or nudging you with the nose, vocalizing by whining or barking, licking you, which is often misinterpreted, jumping up on you, planting, refusing to move, pawing at you in some annoying way, laying his head on your lap, becoming antsy. Dogs have empathy, the ability to feel a person's emotional state. They can respond with concern and comfort. Dogs see past the facade we often present. The release of emotional impact is very important for dogs. Intuition. A dog's intuition is innate. It goes beyond the surface. Most importantly, it's not dependent on training. If the dog displays a behavior you're not sure of, take a moment to ask yourself, why? We're now ready to introduce the second component of this presentation, in which you learn to share your newfound knowledge of your dog with your clients and interpret to that person. Remember, the dog can't do it alone. You are an essential part of the process, and you now are beginning the process of empowering your client to become more aware of the ways all dogs communicate. This IMAX movie was first aired in 2019 and featured 6 special dogs throughout the world with superpowers, saving lives through the powerful bond they share with their human partners. Ricochet was highlighted for her work in helping special needs persons gain confidence through surfing, with the help of this canine specialist. She was also featured for her work with our military members who struggle with post-traumatic stress. This short video was taken in Balboa Park during the filming of the IMAX movie Superpowered Dogs, in which both Ricochet and Griff, the Marine walking beside Ricochet in this video, had a story to tell. The narration isn't clear, so we want you to focus on what you were observing, from both Ricochet and from Griff. On the right side, out of camera sight, is the camera crew, and this is what Ricochet is noticing at the beginning. Ricochet doesn't want Griff to go towards the people in the distance. She sensed that he was stressed. He noticed and followed her lead, giving her the opportunity to redirect their path. Then he sat down beside her and drew his entire attention on communicating with her. This gave him time to assess what he was feeling. Had Griff not already learned what Ricochet was trying to communicate with him, he would probably have thought she was misbehaving and try to force her to move in that direction. But his decision to listen to her gave him time to prepare for the action he needed to take next.
Let me see it though.
Come on, Ricky, this way.
I expected that.
Come on.
Can I look at them?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I'm going to tell you if he tries to start walking that way, she would probably take him. Unless the cameras are following, she might not. But
Mirroring. This is when a dog's behavior mimics the person's emotions or physical changes. Dogs are our mirrors, and what they reflect back is our energy, emotions, pain, personalities. You will often see your dog with the same expression as you, but you probably haven't noticed. Take time to explore what the person might be feeling at the same time. When someone else is handling your dog, mirroring is happening. Ask questions and always trust your dog. The video on the left that I'm about to share is a great example showing the dog's body language and how she is mirroring the person. The person handling Ricochet is one of the service members in our Seeker program who was assigned to work with Ricochet throughout the cohort. As usual, Judy is there to interpret. The list here describes the dog's body language that you will see throughout the video. Look for these behaviors while watching. Licking lips, yawning, rigid body. The dog shows what the participant feels, which is mirroring. The dog is adamant, splaying or planting, refusing to move. The anxiety in the dog causes the dog to not be able to go anywhere. The dog tries to make eye contact with the participant. The dog may look to the owner for help. Notice near the end of the video that Judy starts to tell the participant about the significance of eye contact when she is interrupted to answer a question. After she returns her attention to the participant, she starts to move on and he draws her back to what she had begun to tell him. That is when you know that the participant is understanding the significance of the subject, which in this case is eye contact.
you ready, Ricochet? Okay, see her licking her lips?
Yeah.
That's a sign of stress? So she's picking that up from you?
You ready to go, Ricochet?
See how she's trying to make eye contact with you? Take your glasses off for a second. And so making eye contact is what we say with the No, straight back from the elevator.
Making eye contact was what?
Where it releases they call it the hug hormone.
These are a couple of short videos Judy put together that help identify the different body language signs that the dog is showing when the behavior is from his own anxiety versus mirroring that of a participant. Notice Ricochet's body language in the video at the vet's office. She isn't as adamant as when she is working with a participant, and she eventually stopped planting and went with the vet tech. Whereas when she was with the client, she never gave in to walk in the direction she didn't feel safe. With the final two videos, Ricochet is walking with a participant and doesn't want that person to continue in a certain direction. In one case, she didn't want her to go toward the parking lot. In the other example, Ricochet wanted the participant to go sit down on a bench. Shortly after they eventually sat on the bench, the participant had a mild seizure. Judy did not know in advance that the person had seizures, but Ricochet sensed it.
Come on, Ricochet. Come on. Come on. This way. This way. Come on. Oh, yep. Here we go. Come on. Come on. Come on. This way. Come here. Come on. Come on. Let's go. The door's right there.
She will take you that way.
Come on. This way. Come on. Come here. Come on. This way. Let's go. Mom's going over there.
I'm just showing her tail is tucked.
Come on, let's go, Ricochet. Come on. Come here. Hello. Come on. Come here. Come here. I know. I'm scary. Oh, good girl. Oh, she's a good girl. Ricochet, come on. Ricochet, come on.
I think that's more where we meet. She's like, you're not going to the parking lot, lady.
This way. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Intelligent disobedience. The dog deliberately disobeys a cue if it would put the handler in harm's way. This behavior keeps the person from pushing through. This is different than misbehavior. The next time you are interacting with your dog, perhaps asking him to do a simple behavior, such as move out of the way, and he seems to be, quote, misbehaving, look at yourself first before getting annoyed with the dog. Perhaps you are exhibiting stress signs that the dog is picking up and he is trying to communicate with you. An example we often share is having the participant imagine being in a room with the dog and the dog starts misbehaving, acting kind of crazy, refusing to get out of the way or not obeying a simple command. Our first reaction is to get annoyed with the dog. But rather than assuming that the dog is being a brat, the person needs to look at their own behavior. They will often realize that they themselves are exhibiting anxiety, irritation, or anger that has nothing to do with the dog. Just having this moment of clarity gives the person time to calm inwardly and start using the exercises learned through therapy sessions, thus preventing a tough setback and a slow road back to a calm state of mind. Once calm, the person can now interact with the dog in a positive manner, thus reassuring the dog that things are back on track. This is a great video that shows Ricochet working with a participant in a mall setting in which she actively disobeys the direction the participant was leading them. Near the beginning of the video, Judy added a red arrow near the upper right-hand side which points to a security guard. You will notice that the participant glances briefly in that direction as they were walking and then allows Ricochet to determine the direction they will walk, which is away from the security guard. During part of the video, the participant explains what was happening and actually interprets to Judy what he was feeling. This is when you really know the person is processing what the dog is communicating. At the end of the video, the participant comments about Ricochet leaning into him and what she is doing for him at that moment. This is a type of information that you will want to point out to your client if they don't realize themselves that the dog is not just seeking affection, but is trying to help the person return to a calm state and relax.
So is she taking you right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she's taking him toward the exit.
That and also away from the security guard.
Security guards bother you?
I think sometimes it's just the uniform. When we were approaching, I'd say we were still a good 20, 30 feet away. And I had already picked him out of the crowd, and immediately Ricochet started pulling me to the left and away and around. And I just kind of wanted to leave or disappear. And so as we went to the left, Ricochet had guided me behind a park bench and some bushes. Where we were like kind of concealed and covered and away from that environment. Like right now, people would think that she's just looking for attention, but I know she's leaning into me. Like I can feel her pressure leaning into me to help me just calm down, relax, and de-stress.
Hypervigilance. Dogs are hypervigilant by nature. Their behavior will change if the environment changes. So pay attention to the dog and you will start to pick up many subtle signs. Maintain physical contact with the dog while he was being hypervigilant. Let him lean into you or have your hand touch his body or head lightly so you can feel even subtle movements. The dog instinctively has your back. No training is involved. It's a part of canine behavior. As you get better at observing, you will be able to teach your client how to be more aware. This automatically reduces anxiety, especially in new environments. Hypervigilant videos. Judy combined a couple of videos in this segment. In the first clip, notice how casually Ricochet is observing her environment. She even turns her body subtly so she can follow the person in the distance. The participant can actually feel her movements through the leash. The second video was taken during our seeker session in Balboa Park. The service member is working with a dog for the first time, yet was quick to pick up on the value of maintaining some form of physical touch to feel what the dog was doing. Yet he could easily carry on a conversation with someone at the same time. In the final segment, with the participant talking to someone at the counter, notice how the dog keeps moving from side to side in order to keep his eyes on anyone moving around. The participant could feel the dog behind him and know that no one would startle him. Thus, he was able to carry on a conversation with the clerk, which someone with social anxieties would have a lot of difficulty.
It's hard to see from this side. You almost have to get the shadow on it. But it's Anita.
Triggers are flashbacks to something that happened in the past. They can be emotional or physiological and are not always at the surface level, making them harder to detect in the early stages. There are a variety of different environmental factors that can trigger a reaction. They generally relate to something in the environment at the time of the incident, such as a particular place or smell. Sometimes there might be something in the person's line of sight, or a sound, or even crowds that cause the incident to surface. Things can also bring on triggers, such as a bag, bicycles, black vehicle, or pop noises. During one of our seeker sessions at our training center, the participants took their dogs out to a toileting area, and the service member working with Ricochet had a tough time moving forward halfway through the parking lot as Ricochet planted and refused to move. Judy quizzed the participant, and he told her that black trucks are his trigger, and there was one in the parking lot. A year later, this veteran came back to talk to our group about good triggers. He was very inspirational and told the participants that one technique to manage triggers is to search for good triggers and put your energy there. An example he gave was someone who is triggered by going outside his house. So Alex told them to find something about the outdoors that could serve as a good trigger to get the courage to go outdoors. Then he shared with the group about black trucks being his trigger. So he turned it into a good trigger. He bought himself a black truck and drives it everywhere. Interesting approach and very inspirational to our service members. So, what can cause a trigger? Flashbacks, panic attacks, pain, emotions, physiological or subconscious. What should the person do? Recognize and interpret the dog's behavior, check the environment, assess, then redirect. Reflect on emotions, focus on breathing. Coach the participant. At this stage in the relationship between the dog and the participant, your role becomes crucial. You need to coach the participant. Explain the dog's ability to pick up on your emotions, even if you aren't consciously thinking about it. Ask the client to observe what is going on in the environment. And it's okay to ask, how are you feeling? Ask questions related to the dog's behavior, but let the person know that it is okay to not answer. They typically deny they feel what the dog is displaying, but after a few times, they start to realize what the dog is actually doing. This is a great video to focus on how skillfully Judy gets information from the person. She is tactful and goes at it in a non-threatening way, thus engaging the person to provide information, but also problem-solving jointly about what they are observing. The more you work with your clients, the better you will get at communicating and enlightening your clients.
Come on, Ricky.
There's nobody down that aisle, Rick. Come on.
Ricky, come on.
Do you have issues with things being around the corner?
I mean,
So in other
yeah,
words,
like when I walk around in places like this.
yeah,
I'm
like
constantly
there's
doing
somebody
this.
maybe you can't see behind there. Because that's what I'm noticing her doing when she's stopping. It's where we're coming up
Intersecting
to.
aisles.
Yeah,
and
something like
around
this.
corners you can't see and stuff.
Taking responsibility. If the dog doesn't want you to go a certain direction, perhaps you should. Consider what is happening and why your dog might be intelligently disobeying. Then change your behavior appropriately. Perhaps sit down to rest or take an elevator. This is a great video in which Ricochet is trying to communicate that the person shouldn't be doing something she feels isn't safe. This is an example where the person perhaps should have chosen an alternative action, such as finding an elevator or rest on a bench before attempting to climb the stairs. The dog is telling her something and she needs to listen. One of the Navy corpsmen we placed a service dog with worked on base and did not want to take the elevator because of his fears of tight places with lots of people. So he would go to the stairs. Kobe would not allow him to go down the stairs as he knew it wasn't safe for him because he also had issues with his balance. Years later, they are still together and A-Bear lives in a home with outdoor stairs. Kobe will allow him to go up the stairs, but still will not allow him to go down. He has to walk down the slight incline next to the house.
So interesting how she's leaning against the wall.
She like pulled me towards the railing.
The railing?
Yeah.
And now she's like hugging the wall.
Yeah, I would usually take a break here anyways.
Oh, there you go.
So that's why. My legs get like so tired. Okay. You ready? Come on, I'm ready. Let's go.
Come on, Ricochet.
Come on.
To the next landing.
Come on, Ricochet. Come on.
Did you see how she's leaning against the wall?
Yeah. Want me to stand here? Come on. Come on. Let's go.
Can you let go of the leash? Okay, come on, Ricky. Like she'll come once we're up here. You coming? Come on. We're almost there. What I want you to do is sit at that top stair. Okay, come on. She's like, fine, I don't have to be responsible for you. And I'll go.
Final section in our presentation illustrates the payoff, as you will know that you and your dog have truly made a difference. You will see it in your client's body language, facial expressions, and a subtle willingness to share thoughts and feelings. You have made your client aware of the value of making eye contact with the dog And science has proven that the hormone oxytocin, which is released when this happens, is calming. Now that the client is aware of this, they will actually start to calm themselves, thus healing. The images in this video were taken during our Seeker program, and the dogs themselves are initiating eye contact. Sometimes the person isn't yet aware, while other times the person notices and acknowledges the eye contact with a smile or a touch. Because eye contact releases the hormone oxytocin, the person relaxes and becomes more centered. No prompting is necessary. It's just natural communication. Trust is a big ask of people. This begins by you trusting your dog. Then the participant learns to trust the dog. This builds a bond more quickly. The dog believes in the participant. The dog now trusts both you and the participant. The dog quickly builds a special bond, and this trust carries over to the volunteer owner of the dog. Barriers break down faster, and most of all, this level of trust expedites recovery. Everyone needs validation. The dog shows you how you are feeling in a tangible way. First, the dog displays the behavior. Then you interpret the behavior to the client and ask questions. And finally, the client validates what the dog is communicating. This completes the cycle of validation. The IMAX movie Superpowered Dogs was a huge success and was shown worldwide. After it had been in the theaters for many months, Judy got permission from the Fleet Science Center in San Diego to host an event and invite key people involved in the evolution of Ricochet's powers. Griff, the Marine in the video, flew to San Diego from Texas to speak at the event. This video shows a spontaneous example of Ricochet's powers to the entire audience, and Judy, of course, jumps at the opportunity to explain what is happening. As you can imagine, speaking to a large group on stage is something Griff did not relish, but he did it for Judy and for Ricochet.
His awareness, self-awareness.
She's trying to make eye contact, and then we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. She's feeling my anxiety right now, so. How well I projected myself. I would show up, and Ricochet would be alerting to my triggers, kind of like you guys see her now. You know, I walked up here, she immediately started responding to me. I would say Superman has X-ray vision, but Ricochet has soul vision. She connects with you in the deepest parts of your soul and have a better understanding, a deeper understanding of myself and what was going on with me. I was able to start getting better in therapy. The other therapies that I was engaged in were helping me as well.
Our Canine-inspired community reintegration program has been serving our service members since 2013, and we continue to learn from our dogs. The photo on the right was taken during our early years, and you can see Judy's delight as she watches Ricochet connecting with a service member. All of our Seeker volunteers embrace these principles and continue to empower our dogs. So, our challenge to you: unleash your dog's healing power. 3 basic steps. Know your dog in ways you probably never imagined. Interpret to the client. Be aware, observe, ask questions, and change lives. So remember, the next time you think your dog is misbehaving, reevaluate.